So let's start today by this question. Now, this question is from the Ram Prasad, and we know that this is going to have an inverse response because one of the zero of this function is positive, and when we have a positive zero, then the function will show an inverse response. So when a function shows an inverse response, then either it will first increase then decrease, or it will first decrease and then increase. I mean, there will be two cases, like this, increase and decrease, this one, or like this, it will be first decrease and then increase. So we want to know whether we can find directly by seeing this equation that whether it will be increasing or decreasing without actually solving this whole thing. So we are going to see how we can find this without solving, because you can find direct by solving, getting the inverse of this function, and then plotting it we can find whether what will be the actual graph. Now let's come to concept. Now, let assume that I am given a function gs, and I have said that it is have a, and it is given an input of step function. So it will be have an input of step function. So this will be our function, and we wanted to find the inverse of this. So let assume the inverse of this is gt, or let's rather say the inverse of this will be ft. ft is the function itself along with the step input. Now we want to find whether the inverse of this will be first increase or decrease, or first decrease or then increase. So for finding that, what I'm telling is that if we can find that slope, now for this case and for this case we want to find which one is this. So if the slope at t is equal to 0 is positive, then it will be first increase, and if the slope at t is equal to 0 is negative, then it will first decrease. So we want to find what is the slope at t is equal to 0. This will be the basic concept that we are going to look into this. So what I am telling that I have this function ft, which is the multiplication of a step input within the given function. Now let's assume that I want to find differentiation of this at t is equal to 0. So what I will do at dt at t is equal to 0. Now if I know that fs is the inverse of this function, then the inverse of this differential equation, which will be d upon d, will be, what it will be is that it will be this s into fs. If fs is the inverse of ft, then the inverse of dft upon dt will be sfs. This is clear. Now I want to find the value of this sfs at t equal to 0. So from the initial value theorem, I know that if I have to find the value of a function at t is equals to 0, then I have to just multiply it with s and then put the limit uh, limit s tending to infinity. So we are going to do the same. We are first multiply this with the s, and then we'll find the limit. Now s is already there because of this differentiation. I'll multiply it with 1 again s, and we'll find the limit of that function. So basic concept is that if a function is given, what you have to do is that you just multiply the function with s square into fs, and fs is what? S in 1 by s into gs, because step input was given. So s square into 1 by s into gs. So it will, what it will come, will it 1s will be cancelled. So ultimately in the given function you have to multiply it with the s and find the limit. So what I have, in order to find the slope at t is equal to 0, I have to multiply the function s into gs, and then I have to find the limit at s tending to infinity, and this will give me the slope, and from the slope I can find whether it will be increasing or decreasing. Now let's come to this question. Now what I will do, I will multiply here simply with this s. So if I will multiply it with s, it will become 2s square minus s upon 3s plus 1. Denominator will remain same, it will not change. So this will remain same, 4s plus 1, and I wanted to find the value at s equal to infinity. So I just have to compare the coefficient of s square. Here the coefficient of s square will be 12, and upper and the above in the numerator it will be 2. So the slope will be just 2 by 12 is equal to 1 by 6. So this slope is positive, and the value is positive and its value is 1 by 6, so it will first increase and then decrease. So this is the one way, just you have to multiply it with the s and calculate the coefficient of s square for finding the inverse response.